Cycling shoes. Why does it seem like it's so hard to buy a pair of cycling shoes? Why can't we just walk into a store like we do Fleet Feet or whoever? Just name one of those and just walk in. A salesperson hangs out with us. We step on a little thing to measure our foot, and they pull out 4 or 5 different shoes, and we try them on. Maybe we pull out a few more, run around, and voila, we've got this really cool pair of shoes. Probably a nice color, all those things that fits us. Unfortunately, it's not the same way in cycling, and I'm sure you've all noticed that. Well, there are some inherent challenges to this. Think about it. A place that sells sneakers, tennis shoes, running, basketball, that's what they do. And a cycling store is, well, they kind of sell bicycles, obviously. That's their main thing. And so then they have bicycles and accessories and clothing and everything else. And cycling shoes take up kind of a little portion of the overall part of the bike shop and the bike business. You know, you buy $1,000, $5,000, whatever dollar bicycle, then you might end up buying, you know, $100 shoe to a $150 shoe to a $350 shoe, something like that. But it's comprised of a much smaller part of the business. The other inherent thing that is really different about buying a pair of cycling shoes and why bike fitters, and particularly Bike Fit Pros, are extremely important is if I go and buy all these shoes, doesn't matter what price I pay, doesn't matter whether I'm getting the $80 one, the $200 one, doesn't matter whether I'm getting the mountain bike one or the road one, doesn't matter. They're all the same. Somebody's like, hold on, they're a little bit different. I mean, okay, so this curve might be a little bit different on one and the other, but they're all relatively flat, neutral, straight across, forefoot, okay? Now, if you and I went into a running store, basketball store, something like that, I'm going to say running because they kind of might look at you, analyze a little bit, might see how you walk. I mean, I walk, I don't really run, but I like to ride a bike. So chances are you and I went in, we'd actually get 2 different models of shoes. And it's not just that we get 2 different sort of price points. These are 2 different lakes here. We'd get 2 different shoes on based on how maybe you function in your architecture and how I function in my architecture. And so if a group of us all went out and like maybe 10 of us went and bought shoes, we'd probably end up with like 6, 7 different models of shoes, you know. And in cycling, again, we would all end up with the exact same cycling shoe. Someone would say, hold on, well, wait a minute, there's this one brand out there that has this thing built into it. Okay, but even that shoe, from the $80 shoe, if they go that cheap, to the $150, to the $250, to $350, they're all the same exact shoe. Yes, some could be stiffer, some could be not as stiff, but they all function the same exact way. And that's why a Bike Fit Pro is extremely important, because you would go and get a different tennis shoe for running. I'd get a different one, but in cycling, we end up with the same thing. So it's the bike fitter that has to make those different adjustments. Now, the other challenge, because inherent to the bike industry in general, it's really hard for them to carry shoes. One company has become really creative, and I'm going to have to give some kudos to Lake here. Not only do they make really cool shoes, they offer more sizes than most, they offer different widths, they offer super wide. That is really cool. And they've come up with this thing called the Fit Stick. And what you can do with it is you can measure the length of your foot. Consumers can do this too, by the way. And then you would measure the width of your foot, like you probably have seen done in a store. Somebody go, wait a minute, I have one of those devices that's called the Brandt device, and I can measure feet really well and do a great job. And you probably can, not knocking that. But the challenge of, so the Brandt device says, hey, this is a size 10. And I go, but I need to order this brand. Or, oh, wait a minute, I need to order this brand. I need to order this brand. Oh, well, I think in the CDs, I got to order like a 10.5. Actually, no, wait a minute, I have to order a 43.5, and if I get the DMTs, I have to order a 42.5, and so that's a challenge. So you're as a consumer going like, geez, come on, Bike Shop, why don't you have the shoes for me? Well, it's not that easy on them. And with the Lake is what they've done. It's sort of proprietary, or at least it's set up rather. It's not proprietary, but like if you measure this, chances are when you buy a Lake, it's going to be the right size. Now, one of the cool things that I have now, because Lake has made it so easy, is we actually incorporate this now in all of our fit classes. I use this in every single bike fit I do. I just fit some celebrity chef the other day. God, I can't think of his name. Bought a brand new pair of Treks, Bontrager shoes, I measured his feet right here, just like this. I measured the width. And then I put his shoes in, and I'm going to pick this one here. And look at that. That shoe literally fits inside of here. This is the width of his foot. You get it? In other words, his foot is this wide, and the shoe is this wide. So his foot has to be smaller because there's an inside here, right? There's a thickness to this to get his foot inside the shoe. And his wasn't bad. I've seen a lot worse. I'm almost 100% now that everybody I measure, unless they have been measured with Lakes, their shoes are actually too narrow. This is extremely common. Now, remember in my last video, I was talking a little bit about the history of cycling. And if you look at shoes and how narrow they were, this is an old pair. Like, I've kept the width here the same. Look at that distance. This is how narrow cycling shoes used to be. And these are stretched out. This leather stretched back in the day. So cycling shoes have come a long way. They're a lot better. They're a lot more comfortable. They're stiffer, this, that. And Lake comes in all different sizes. You know, I've been at this a long time, but I kind of just used to accept, even as a fitter, this is the cycling shoe. You know, I got to deal with it. And it was frustrating. That's why I came up with products like the Switch It, came up with products like the quick changing saddle changers. Like, I'm tired of people, or us, having to settle, you know. And Lake, you don't have to settle with Lake. You can get a little bit wider shoe or a much wider shoe. You can get a shoe to fit, and they'll talk to you about how to put it on, how to tighten it up, and things like that. And that's just such an amazing level of customer service. So it is difficult and challenging for us as consumers. Hey, I ride a bike. I want to get some shoes. It's difficult for the bike industry. So maybe a little bit of just kind of understanding back and forth, but knowing that one company's done an amazing job with trying to help make that a little bit better. I'm in Spokane, Washington, by the way. I'm not knocking into shops here. Some of them do a pretty good job, but cycling shoes are just tough in the industry. So I'm in Spokane, Washington. Let's say you're a Peloton user or something like that. I will right now, if you want to order a pair of shoes for me, I'll throw in a free Peloton bike fit. That's at least $150, $200. I'll throw that in free with a pair of shoes. That's CDA, Idaho as well, Coeur d'Alene. I'm in that area. We'll set up something where I come measure you and show you what it's all about. Any questions on shoes? This is a tough topic for a lot of people. So I'm asking you as consumers to have a little patience. Your bike shop, in a lot of ways, probably doesn't even know, and you can't use words like LBS. LBS. What does LBS stand for? Local bologna sausage is my PC version of that. So, but there's some good local bike shops, and if they're good, mention their name. Say who they are. Say who the customer was. I mean, let's talk about them. On my side of the industry, if I hear a bike shop maybe isn't doing so great, I'm not here to bash them. I'm here to call and help and work with them. So I'm Paul at thecyclepoint.com. You can check us out on Facebook. Again, if you're a Peloton user and you're in the Spokane, Coeur d'Alene area, I will come measure you for just a pair of a retail set of shoes. I'll do an entire full bike fit for you. And I believe you'll be amazed. So thanks for watching.